Hey there, and welcome to English Podcast Horizon. I'm Tom, and in this episode, I have something special for you. Today, we're going to learn and practice English through a story. But don't worry, we're not reading a full book. This is a short and simplified version, perfect for English learners. The story you'll hear today is called Treasure Island. My friend and colleague Richard will narrate it for you slowly and clearly. Here's what we'll do in this episode. First, we'll listen to the story at a slow and easy pace, using simple English words. Then I'll explain the important vocabulary from the story. I'll make each word clear and simple, so you can understand it easily. And finally, we'll practice shadowing, which means repeating after the narrator to improve your pronunciation and rhythm. You can pause the audio, repeat the lines, or even write down what you hear. So, get ready. This is Treasure Island, told just for English learners. The story Treasure Island simplified a long time ago in a quiet village by the sea. There was a small inn called the Admiral Benbow. A young boy named Jim Hawkins lived there with his parents. Life at the inn was calm and peaceful. Only a few travelers stayed there, and nothing exciting ever happened. Until one day, everything changed. An old sailor came to the inn. He was tall and strong, with a rough face and a deep scar across his cheek. He didn't talk much, but he always looked nervous. Every morning, he climbed a hill near the sea with his telescope in hand. He looked out at the water as if he were waiting or watching for someone. The old sailor stayed at the inn for many weeks. He drank too much rum and often sang old pirate songs. The songs scared the other guests, and soon, people stopped coming to the inn. His name was Billy Bones. One day, Billy told Jim to watch for a sailor with one leg. He looked serious, almost frightened. Every month, he gave Jim a silver coin to keep an eye out. Jim didn't really understand why Billy was afraid, but he could tell that the old sailor was hiding from someone. Then, one cold afternoon, a blind man came to the inn. His name was Pew, and he was even scarier than Billy. He spoke in a low, hard voice and asked for Billy Bones. When Billy came out, Pew gave him something called the black spot, a pirate sign of danger and death. Billy's face went pale. He grabbed his chest and stumbled back. A few minutes later, he fell to the floor and died. His heart had simply given out. After Billy's death, Jim and his mother opened his old sea chest to find the money he owed them. Inside, they found coins from many countries, gold, silver, and strange pieces from faraway lands. But they also found something much more important. A map, a treasure map. It showed the island where the famous pirate, Captain Flint, had hidden his gold long ago. Jim took the map to Dr. Livesey, a kind and clever doctor, and to Squire Trelawney, a rich landowner. Together, they made a plan to sail across the sea and search for Captain Flint's treasure. And so, their great adventure began. Dr. Livesey and Squire Trelawney hired a ship called the Hispaniola. It was a strong and beautiful vessel, ready for a long sea voyage across the ocean. They also found a captain to lead the journey, Captain Smollett. He was strict but fair and honest. Everyone respected him. Jim was invited to join the ship's crew as a cabin boy. He felt proud and excited. He had never been on a ship before, and now he was part of a real adventure. One of the men on board was Long John Silver. He worked as the ship's cook. He had only one leg and walked with a wooden crutch, but he moved quickly and always smiled. Silver was clever, friendly, and full of funny sea stories. He also had a green parrot on his shoulder that kept shouting, "Pieces of 8, pieces of 8." At first, everyone liked Silver. He told jokes, helped the crew, and seemed like a good man. But soon, Jim discovered a terrible secret. One afternoon, while hiding inside an empty barrel on the ship, Jim heard Silver whispering with some of the other men. He realized that Silver and many of the crew were pirates. They were secretly planning to wait until the treasure was found, then take control of the ship and keep it all for themselves. Jim's heart raced. He was scared but stayed quiet and listened carefully. Later, he told Captain Smollett and the other honest men what he had heard. Now they knew the truth. Many of their crew were dangerous. They had to stay alert and prepare to defend themselves. After many days at sea, the Hispaniola finally reached Treasure Island. The island looked calm and green, full of trees, hills, rocks, and secret caves. But Jim and his friends knew danger was waiting somewhere. Some of the men went ashore right away. Jim went with them, but after a while, he wandered off alone into the forest. There, among the trees, he met a strange man named Ben Gunn. Ben had once been a pirate, but his shipmates had abandoned him on the island. He had lived there for 3 long years, surviving on berries, wild goats, and Hope Ben Gunn was a little strange, but kind and friendly at heart. He shared a big secret with Jim. He had already found Captain Flint's treasure and hidden it safely. Ben promised to help Jim and his friends, but only if they would take him home once the adventure was over. While this was happening, things on the island grew worse. Long John Silver and the pirates took control of the Hispaniola. They demanded the treasure map Captain Smollett. Dr. Livesey, Squire Trelawney, and the other loyal men quickly moved into an old wooden house on the island. They used it as a fort to protect themselves and to fight back. Soon, the battle began. The pirates attacked the house with guns and swords, shouting for the map. But the loyal men were brave, strong, and clever. They defended the house and refused to surrender. Then Jim did something incredibly brave. He found a small round boat and used it to quietly return to the Hispaniola. There, he faced a dangerous pirate, and after a tough fight, he won. Jim took control of the ship and sailed it to a safe place, far from the pirates. Later, he returned to the wooden house and told his friends what he had done. Everyone was amazed and proud of his courage. Together, they continued to fight the pirates. Long John Silver tried to act friendly again, pretending to change sides. He said he wanted peace, but Jim and the others no longer trusted him. At last, the pirates followed the map to the spot where they believed the treasure was buried. They dug and dug, but found nothing. The treasure was gone. They had been tricked. They didn't know that Ben Gunn had already discovered it years earlier and hidden it in a secret cave. Some pirates gave up and ran away into the forest, never to be seen again. Others were too weak to fight. In the end, the good men had won. They were tired but safe, and now they finally knew where the real treasure was. Inside the cave, they found gold, silver, jewels, and coins from many lands, more than they had ever imagined. It took many trips to carry everything back to the ship. When they were ready to leave, a few pirates were left behind. Some had died, and others had vanished into the jungle. As for Long John Silver, he helped a little at the end, but he still lied and tricked them. Then one night, while everyone was asleep, Silver disappeared. He had taken one small bag of treasure with him and was never seen again. The ship finally sailed back to England. Jim and his friends were safe and rich. But Jim felt different. He had gone on a great adventure, faced danger, and learned about bravery, friendship, and trust. The treasure was not just gold. It was the wisdom and courage he found along the way. He was no longer just a young boy. He had grown up. Soft music fades and hi there. It's Tom again from English Podcast Horizon. Now, let's go over some of the best vocabulary from today's pirate adventure. These words will help you understand English stories more easily and sound more natural when you speak to. Here's how we'll do it. I'll say the word, explain it simply, give you a real-life example, and then it's your turn to shadow to repeat after me. Ready? Let's begin. The first word is by the sea. This means near the ocean or next to the coast. For example, they built a small cottage by the sea. Now repeat after me. They lived by the sea. The inn was by the sea. Excellent. The next word is inn. An inn is a small hotel, usually quiet, old, and cozy. For example, we stayed at a little inn during our road trip. Now repeat after me. Let's rest at an inn. Good job. The next word is rough. When someone looks rough, it means they look tough or wild, not neat or clean. For example, the sailor looked rough, with messy hair and old clothes. Now your turn. He looked rough and scary. That man has a rough voice. Nice work. The next word is scar. A scar is a mark on your skin left after a cut or injury heals. For example, she has a small scar on her knee from when she fell. Or repeat. He has a scar on his face. Perfect. The next word is nervous. Nervous means feeling worried or afraid that something bad might happen. For example, I feel nervous before speaking in public. Or repeat after me. Jim looked nervous. She felt nervous before the test. Excellent. Music fades softly, and that's it for part 1 of our vocabulary review. Keep repeating these words aloud, and you'll soon feel confident using them in your own sentences. In the next section, we'll learn more great words from Treasure Island and keep practicing your pronunciation together. Now repeat this one. The pirates tried to take over the ship. Excellent. The next word is crew. A crew is a group of people who work together on a ship, plane, or project. For example, the ship's crew worked hard during the storm. Repeat after me. Jim was part of the
ship's crew. The crew followed the captain's orders. Good job. Next, we have island. An island is a piece of land surrounded by water. For example, they sailed to a small island in the ocean. Now, repeat this one. Treasure Island was full of secrets. Great work. Now comes the word forest. A forest is a large area full of trees. For example, they walked through the dark forest. Now repeat this one. Jim ran into the forest. Perfect. The next word is treasure. Treasure means valuable things like gold, silver, or jewels. For example, the pirates searched for hidden treasure. Now repeat after me. They found a box of treasure. Good. Next, we have fight back. To fight back means to defend yourself when someone attacks. For example, the crew had to fight back against the pirates. Now repeat this one. They fought back bravely. Excellent. The next word is safe. Safe means protected from danger or harm. For example, they were finally safe inside the house. Now repeat this one. Jim felt safe again. Good job. And finally, bravery. Bravery means courage, not being afraid to do something difficult or dangerous. For example, Jim showed great bravery during the fight. Now repeat this one. Bravery is doing what's right, even when you're scared. Very well done. You've just learned and practiced some of the most important vocabulary from Treasure Island. Keep repeating and using these words in your own sentences. You'll notice that your English starts to sound more natural and confident every day. For example, the pirates tried to take over the ship, and here's another one, right away. Right away means immediately, without waiting. For example, come here right away. Now repeat this one. He left right away after hearing the news. Good job. And here's our final phrase, walked off. To walk off means to leave a place, often quietly or without saying anything. For example, he didn't answer. He just walked off. Now repeat this one. Jim walked off into the forest. Excellent. And there you have it. Your vocabulary adventure is complete. This is how your English becomes stronger, step by step. And remember, you don't have to do it alone. We're here to help you in every episode. I'm Tom. This is English Podcast Horizon. See you next time.